This is Alex. Hey, Irfan.
Hi Alex, how's it going today?
It's going really well. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Excellent. So, today we're going to go over the homework from chapter 1.5, the practice chapter that we had. That kind of went over every concept that we really learned in chapter 1 and making sure that people watching are familiar and comfortable with the concepts that we discussed. Are you ready?
Excellent, yes, I'm so ready.
Perfect. All right. So, once again, we're going through the book, AP Computer Science Done Right, and it's available on Amazon. If anyone would like to purchase it as an ebook or as a hard copy, they can do so. And we're just going to make a video for each section and each homework to go over. So, the first homework is the year is 2030, and books can now read themselves to kids. If you remember, we're going to design a story reader that will start with a greeting and then it will go with a child's name. So, for example, a greeting is hello, child's name could be Irfan, and then it will read the content of the book. Um, and then we'll add a read method, which just returns the script as a string. All right, does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Let's
Okay,
go.
perfect. All right. So do you remember the 5 steps of the design recipe that we need to follow to design something?
Absolutely, the first step is to write the purpose statement.
Excellent. Okay. So first, I think, given that we're going to design this, represent this data or information as data, um, this seems like a fairly complex thing. So we probably will have a class first. So let's first create that class, and then we can write our purpose statements and the other steps in that class. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes sense.
Perfect. So once again, we have, this is a similar outline as the other homeworks. So we're going to create a new Java class, and it's going to be a book class, right? It's going to be just a book, essentially.
Right.
Excellent. I'm going to go back here and just copy this guy. All right. Well, so we essentially already have a purpose statement for the class itself. Like, that's what the purpose is. We're going to design a story reader script. Um, so what's the next step?
We'll have to start the code by signature.
Yes, excellent. Um, what's our signature?
It's going to be an output and then an input. So we didn't define the um, book content and child's name yet, though, in the class.
Right. Okay. So now you're pointing at an interesting factor. So if we're going to represent this data as book, we need to decide what field makes sense for the book to have and then what things make sense for the read method to have. So let's first design the book itself. So what should every book have?
Which it will have a content.
It will have a content, exactly. And what is the type of content?
It's a string.
It's a string, exactly. So we're going to have a string content, and it will essentially be the entire content of this book. Okay, what else do we need?
So from the book,
Yeah, from the book.
oh, I don't know. What else do we need?
So it doesn't look like we need anything else, right? It's just the content of the book that we care about. We don't care about the title or the author or anything else. So it's just the content.
Exactly.
Okay, so to create a book, should what should we have in the book class?
We'll have the constructor.
Yes, we need to have a constructor to instantiate a book. And how do we have a constructor?
we'll just copy the name of the class, like book here,
Yeah, which is called book. Mm-hmm.
and then parentheses followed by string content again.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, IntelliJ IDEA is too smart, but at this point, it should be just as easy for you guys to write this. Okay, so the dot content is content. Excellent. So now we can go into our method. So we want to add a read method, which returns the script as a string. All right, so what's the first step of creating great methods?
We'll again know the purpose of our method.
Yep. Read the content of this book. Well, actually, the greeting and given child's name. Okay. What's the second step?
Okay, so we'll have to start by greeting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another string.
Sorry. What's the second step of designing a method overall?
Is to have the signature, right?
Right, exactly. Okay. So what are you saying the input and output of this method will be?
So the output will be a string.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, let's call it book contents. Let's say
We can call it read, right? Because it's not just about the
read.
content.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have the string content
Do we need to pass that
as an
in?
input. I don't know. Do we need to? It's our input.
So it's already included in our class, right? We already have access to the field. So remember, if we have access to a field, we don't need to have it as an input. We can just call it this dot content in the function body. We only need
Oh,
inputs that are outside of the fields. So what else should this method have?
um, I think that's it. And then we'll just want it to return, right?
So remember, it also needs a child's name, right? We don't know what name to use.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so that should be an input, right?
It
Okay.
will be a string child name.
Excellent, exactly. All right, what's the next step?
After the signature, we'll have an example, right?
Exactly, perfect. So let's write our example here. So we can do something like, let's say we give the name Irfan when you were a kid. And we're gonna call this method on the book. I don't know, what's your favorite book?
It's Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Okay, so let's say Harry Potter book dot read with the given name of Irfan. Whoopsie. Okay. What should the output be?
It will return the greeting plus my name and the book content.
Okay, so we'll say something like hello, Irfan, and then it'll be the entire Harry Potter. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes sense.
All right. Given that we know our example, what should we do?
So after the example, we start to code.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. How do we get
Um,
going?
we'll have the greeting first,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a string. So string greeting,
Perfect. We'll just have it as hello. Okay.
Or also we can have it as hello plus the child's name, right?
We could, but that's no longer just a greeting.
Okay, yes, you're right.
Okay. What else do we need to do?
We'll have the book content. So we just wanted to return this dot contents.
Okay. So we don't want it to return the content. We wanted to return the greeting plus a space plus what should be after greeting?
The content?
Child name, right?
Oh, child.
Yes, the devil is in the details, so we always have to be careful about the details. Another space, and then just like you said, this dot content. Does that make sense?
Yes, it all makes sense. We put those spaces there just to for our output to be more clear, right?
Yeah, because otherwise it's going to be hello Irfan with like no space in between, so it wouldn't
Oh,
make any sense.
makes sense. Yes.
Excellent. Are we done?
Well, we didn't test the code yet.
Exactly. Let's test our code. So remember, you can when you create a new class, you can just right click on the test or on the method that you want to test, and then you can click on generate, and then you can generate a test, and it's going to be a JUnit test. We don't need to set up before and after, and you can select read as a method that you want to test. You press OK, and voila, it creates a test method. So then let's create an example book. So let's do book Harry Potter. Whoopsie. Gets new book. And it just needs a content. So let's just call it Harry Potter content. We're not going to try to type the entire book.
Okay.
All right. Now, to essentially test with our example, like hello Irfan and then the Harry Potter book, what should our test be?
How do we test it?
Do you remember from last section how we tested methods?
Could we repeat?
Absolutely, we can repeat. This is why we're here. So remember, we have things like assert equals, and essentially, it will expect something to be equal to something else. So we can say, I expect the Harry Potter. Whoops, what happened here? Okay. I expect the Harry Potter book that I just created dot read. Why isn't it picking this up? Oh, because I have a misspelling. I have 3 R's. Okay. Dot read with the child name of Irfan to be the same as hello Irfan and then Harry Potter content. Does that make sense?
Okay, yes, makes sense.
Okay, great. So yeah, we first say we expect our method with our input and output to be the same as this string, which is our output. Then we run this, and it might take a while. And hopefully we should get the right answer. Excellent, the test passed, so our method works. Good job. Should we move on to the next?
That's very nice.
Yes, it is. Should we move on to the next homework problem?
Let's go.
Excellent. Alrighty. So, I'm going to remove this. Okay, great. We have decided to replace home pipes with a hollow cake cylinder, so when they burst, we can have some cake. we want to have a data representation for cylindrical cake pipes and include how much water it can contain. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Excellent. Okay, so similar to the first problem, given that this is a complex information, how do we represent complex information?
We'll create a class for it.
Excellent. Yes, exactly. All right. So let's create a new class. And what should we call it?
Hello.
Yeah?
We'll call it cake pipe, for
Yep.
example.
We can call it cake pipe. Exactly. Perfect. All right. Let me just copy this data down. Excellent. So in this cake pipe, what information should I have?
So we just care about the information that are related to cake pipe itself. So we'll start by radius and height, right?
Perfect. Yes, exactly. What data type should be radius and height?
They're both doubles, I think, because it might be a decimal number.
You are on the perfect track. All right. Anything else I need to add here?
We can add comments to say the unit, for example. Let's say it's in centimeters.
Perfect. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting situation with centimeters, but I think it's great. What else do I need to do in a class?
Here we'll need to create the constructor.
Excellent. And it's fairly self-explanatory, so I'll let IntelliJ write it for me. Perfect. All right. What else? How do I represent this last bit of how much water it can contain?
So we'll need to have a method to um, compute the volume for us, right?
Irfan, you are on fire. That's exactly what we need to do. So, the first step, I will help you out because you were so good at realizing that we need to have a method. I'm going to write the purpose statement for you. So, it's going to be calculate how much water does this pipe hold. All right, what's the next step?
Okay, so we know we want to get the volume, so it will be a double number. We'll start by defining the double number.
Excellent. Yes, the return type is going to be a double number because our radius and height are also in double. Okay, what's the next step?
Yes, we should give it a name, like get volume is a good name, let's say.
Perfect, yes.
And then followed by parentheses, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we just wanted to return math pi and radius times radius
Ooh,
times
wait,
height.
wait, wait.
So
Yeah.
we wanted to do the calculations for us.
Yes, we do, but you're going ahead of ourselves. You're trying to start coding before we are done. So should there be any input? So I know the output is going to be a double. What about the input?
You're right about the input. I think we already have them and we don't need to call them here.
Exactly. We already have them as class fields. So we can leave the input parameters to be empty. Okay, before we get
Okay, yes,
into the
right.
whole thing, all right, what's the next step of writing a great method?
And then here we'll have example.
Excellent. Okay. So let's say we have a pipe of radius 3 centimeters, and let's say 5 centimeters height. What should I expect for get volume to give me?
We'll expect 5 times 3 times 3 times 3.14.
So the volume is pi r squared, right?
Yes, right.
So it's going to be the number pi times the radius, which is 3 times 3, because that's what squaring it would be. Times the height, right?
Exactly.
Excellent. Okay. So now the code just kind of naturally comes, right? It's easy to think. So remember the keyword return. So now we can just essentially replace these with this. So we can do this dot radius. Actually, before I do it, remember from from one of our sections, we said if we were going to calculate something multiple times, it's better to just kind of save it in your pocket and then use it in their return statement.
Yes.
Okay, so we can just kind of have that in here. So we can say double radius squared is going to get this dot radius dot this dot radius. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Excellent. All right, so now that we have this, how do we essentially code this part?
So we'll have return radius squared times the height, this that height.
Yep.
And 3.14.
Yeah, we actually can just use math.py.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know why it's not working. Oh, there we go. Whoops. Okay. All right. Does that make sense?
Yes, it all makes sense.
Perfect. Are we done?
Oh, we should do the testing.
Exactly. We should do the testing. So I'll just use Command N as a generator short key. All right. So let's say we have cake pipe. My home pipe. And it's a new cake pipe. The radius is going to be 3, we said, and the height is going to be 5, right?
Yes.
How do I test this?
Assert equals.
Yes, perfect.
We use this keyword.
Yes. Assert equals. So we're gonna test get volume, right? So we can just do my homepi dot get volume. And
right.
What's the actual number that we're expecting to see?
3 times 3 times 5 times 3.14.
Well, it wouldn't be times 3.14, right? Because we didn't use 3.14 in our code. So if we were to use 3.14, our test would actually fail. Let's just show. Because we're only using pi to, 2 decimal places. Only 3 significant figures. So let's see. See, the test failed because we expected something much more precise and we only rounded it to 1 decimal point. So instead of 3.14, what should we use?
Math.py. It was very interesting that this happened.
I'm glad you're interested. Alright, so let's run this again and hopefully we should get the right answer. Alright, Excellent job, Irfan. Any questions about this homework set?
It's all clear. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you. Have a great day.